everyone, and welcome to Real PR with me, Fiona Scott. I hope you're having a good day, a good week, and a great month. I'm joined today by someone who inspires me, even though he's a turn younger than me. He's a client and a friend, and his name's Arthur Dallimer.
Hi, I'm Arthur Dallimer. I'm from William Arthur Property. I've been doing property for probably about 12 years now, and I came to Fiona to really help me with my messaging, to get the storytelling across, and to help with the kind of public image that kind of came thrusted on me from doing more bigger developments in the town centre.
So let's talk about, first of all, where you were born and brought up, because I think that's relevant to you, Arthur, because you really care about Swindon. So talk to us a bit about your upbringing.
So I'm Swindon born and bred. I've been living in the town since I was a baby. I've got it in my passport. It's really somewhere where I have grown up. I know the people, I know how it works. I know the ups and downs, the love-hate relationship that you got with Swindon. Everyone has it. You know, we go through waves of not wanting to live here to wanting to live here, but we've always got a draw to come back to it. And I guess that's what my love for Swindon is. You know, there's so many different diverse people, there's so much to do on a business level, probably less so culturally in the town. But yeah, I've got a love for Swindon. Weird enough, but yeah.
But I mean, I think in some ways you're like me, although I wasn't born and brought up, I've been here a long time. People outside of Swindon often have quite a negative view of our town, don't they?
Yeah, which is really sad, you know. I think, but I also think the people that live in the town also contribute to that. You know, they have negative thoughts about the place. You know, the first thing people say is they're not happy with XYZ, and they don't want to change. And that's fundamentally what will help the town thrive, is if people are engaged to change.
I was walking my dog along the canal yesterday and met two councillors who mentioned you actually in our talk, saying how they needed more Arthurs in the town, which I thought was really lovely, Arthur, that was quite unexpected and unbidden. So let's talk about property before we talk about property in Swindon. How did that begin for you?
So I was 17 years old, and there was a property that came up for auction in my local village where I was raised as a kid. And I knew the house. I knew it had been burnt down 5 years ago, and it was an insurance job that rebuilt it. But it ended up in an auction because the guy passed away. And I just knew everything about that property. I knew everything about that road, and I was fortunate enough to inherit 50,000. So I bought that house, and I made 70,000 from my first project. Now with that money, you know, I was 18 at the time, and I was like, yes, I've got 70 grand plus whatever I inherited. And I was like, oh, I can buy a Bentley, but the business brain kicked in, and I was like, look, let's keep recycling this money. Let's keep recycling and making more money from the money that I'd made.
Okay, so when you say the business brain kicked in, you were 17 years old, Arthur. One, how did you know you had a business brain? And if you knew it, where do you think that came from?
So me and my friend, we started probably at the age of 9 or 10, selling chicken eggs and chickens to parents at the school. So that was one of our businesses. And then I was really quite engaged within trying to make something, or solve problems and solutions. And one of those was, I went to a business school over summer. I begged my parents to pay for it, and they did. And I learned a lot at that business school. And there were opportunities to pitch to very high net worth individuals. I learned so much through that. And I just always had an interest, and probably a bit crass, I always wanted to make money. And that was a big motivator for me.
Okay, I want to talk about that money mindset because I know you and I have talked about it, and I've got another client that you don't know yet, but you will, who has a similar money mindset to you. Why do you think you have that attitude to money? Because it's really different to my attitude, and I find that fascinating. So
Hmm.
tell me why.
I think if you kind of delve deep into kind of my upbringing, I've got a brother that's autistic, an older brother, who requires a lot of care and needs, and I think I established that kind of need for him to be supported at a very young age, and that support doesn't come without a price. So I think my long ambition was always to make sure that my brother is well supported, that he has such an amazing life, that he doesn't fall into the system, that he can be able to live the life that he deserves fundamentally. And I think that was installed at me from a kid.
But you like the good things in life, don't you, Arthur? Tell us what kind of things you like, and you might have the money to have them now, or you might want the money for them in the future. What things in life do you enjoy?
You go through the kind of cycle, I think, as a kid, where you go, I'm going to buy loads of expensive goods, clothes, accessories. And then I kind of realized that that doesn't bring any kind of satisfaction. Really, what for me, the reason why I want to make money is to have a better lifestyle. So that is holidays, that is to have the nice house. I'm not necessarily interested in cars because they depreciate. There's no value in them really. So that's kind of fundamentally where my drive is and what I want. I've moved away from kind of the materialistic things, but more now for life and lifestyle.
Okay, so I'm going to take you back in time. You're 17, you've made 70,000. I think you were going to go to university. Talk us through how that mapped out for you, sort of uni, studying, making money in property. How did you bring all that together?
I went to uni. I did accounting and finance. It was more a need that my mum installed. She wanted me to kind of get a degree just so I could have something to fall back on if everything went to pop. Now, do I think I use my degree in my current life? No. But back when I kind of started property and was flipping houses, I would go to uni, do my coursework, and on weekends I would come home and I would work at the houses, or I'd catch up with the builders working on the houses. And that's when I really started, uh, it was like a 100-hour week. I was working, doing uni. I also had a job and I also was flipping houses. It was just something that I really wanted to do. I didn't want to be a uni student that was like milling around on the weekends. Don't worry, I did have fun at uni.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I
for a
did
bit of
party,
fun.
but I also made money whilst I was there.
And I know we've talked about it before, and you can be quite coy about it, but you were a millionaire quite young, weren't you?
Yes, yeah. I would say probably at 23, I
Yeah,
could say on paper I was a millionaire.
yeah. Okay, so how did property evolve after uni then? I never get the impression you thought, well, I'm going to be an accountant.
No, no. I use my accountancy degree in kind of making sure that I can um, use the knowledge to my advantage. But property for me, I started collating assets, so that would be retaining to rent property out. I was fortunate enough to be introduced to a lady that passed away, Carol Clifford, who helped me purchase my first commercial property, and that's where I kind of grew the office side and the commercial property side of my portfolio. But I've also got a residential side.
Okay, now I remember I was first asked to talk to you when you had bought what people in Swindon will know as the Old Museum, Apsley House. And I think that decision to buy that property took you down a more public path than you might have thought it would. Tell me about that.
Yeah, I think when I don't know whether it's how my brain's wired, but when I kind of hyper focus on something and I really want to get it, and not only because it there's a financial benefit to me, but I see the social benefit to people of Swindon. Um, I really honed in on how to get this project, and I really made sure that I was the only option for the person selling, which was the council. That the public benefit that I was trying to sell to the people of Swindon, but also the financial benefit that I presented in the back end was really supportive and pro that development. So I just focused, and then I met yourself to kind of help navigate the negative connotations that come with developers and people inflicting change on the town and wanting change. And I think you helped me with that.
I hope so. I mean, an interesting choice of words there, inflicting change.
Yeah,
But
probably
actually,
wrong.
well, no, because I think that the thing is, if we don't embrace change for older buildings and heritage buildings, we risk losing them totally.
Mm.
And that's what I've learnt that from you, and I've seen that before. Now, with the museum also, people think they have a right to express view about a building like that, when actually technically it was the council's, and then it became your property, or your and your investors, however they're set up, property. But that brings a whole different range of comments, doesn't it? Comments and engagement. So let's talk about 2026. What's happening with Apsley House? Just walk us through what's going to be happening.
So we have signed up commercial tenants for a bakery, and we're close to signing a restaurant tenant, and then we have a co-working tenant already signed. So from a perspective of having that place, a destination place within Old Town, we've built it. We're ready to launch. We're now looking to do the construction phase, which will be getting the builders in to do the nice fancy bits, the new cladding, the new windows, the landscaping for the development, and then the operators, which are the tenants or the people doing the bakeries and the office space and the restaurants. They come in and do their fit out. So my side of the development will end in July, and then I would say that the tenants and the operators probably will be in there until September, October, and then we'll do a big launch in November for Christmas.
Brilliant. I should look forward to that. Cakes and goodies, wine and stories. What could be better? So, okay, so that's brilliant. You bought a manor house to live in.
Yeah.
So let's walk us through that story, Arthur.
So I bought Birdrop House, which is a beautiful stately home just outside of Swindon. It is the home, well, it's a property that I would see on a daily basis on my route to school. I never in a million years thought I'd be able to buy it, but it came on the market. And even then you're kind of face planting and going, well, how the hell am I going to buy this? It was on the market for a lot of money. And, I focused on it, made it work and bought it.
I remember going to it because you had a private opening that I was lucky enough to attend, which initially, Martha, I don't know if you remember, you said you'd have about 30 people too, and I think it was about 300.
Yeah.
Do you remember? But it is beautiful, but it's a lot of work for you. I mean, talk us through some of the work that you've done.
So the house square footage is 27,000 square foot. So if you compare a standard house is 1,400 square foot, I have 27,000 square foot of space that I needed to renovate and develop and make into livable, usable and rentable space. So it was a main stately home with loads of outbuildings. I then renovated the outbuildings and the house. I live in the house and I rent out the outbuildings.
But that's not all your plans for it, are there? You've got other plans up your sleeve. So what can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so I for a long time have been an advocate that in order for a place to develop, you have to provide a very enriched cultural offering. And it kind of plays into the hand of what we're trying, like the council and members of the community are trying to encourage to bid for the cultural capital of the UK for 2029, which I really want to do because it opens up so much funding for the area, so much opportunity and so much space. And I have a beautiful park, similar to a smaller version of Weston Burt in Tetbury, but a compact space. And it really should be accessible to those that don't necessarily have the means to. And it really should be a space which should be enjoyed by others. And I want that space to be a place where you can come and experience opera, experience music, to experience, Gabrielle, to really be part of something really positive for the town.
And there are things to navigate with that because you have got neighbours.
Yes.
Arthur. So we're not going to name anything or anything like that. But, how have you managed that? You're young to take on NIMBYism and people who don't want big events and people turning up on your property. So how do you manage that in your head?
Naturally, you have to appreciate that everybody has ideas of what that looks like, and I have to manage the worry, the anxiety around what might happen. And I am not doing this on my own. There's professional people coming in to manage the events, to help run them, to curate them. It's there are going to be teething problems. There are going to be mistakes, and we're going to learn and we're going to develop. And I'm not looking to do this, on a permanent basis. It's so temporary. Maximum 2 large events a year. Um, and Glastonbury is now synonymous for places where you go to and experience music. Go to Westonbirt and you have a beautiful arboretum of trees which you kind of sit and then relax and be part of nature. It's something that we need in this town, we need in this area.
I totally agree. And I like attending events. We had them in Swindon from time to time, but they're quite ephemeral. They come, they're held once or twice, and then they go away. And I think that consistency, Glastonbury is an example, because when I was a kid, Glastonbury was Pilton Pop Festival, and it was 3 hippies on a bit of ground. Now look at it. I mean, it's crazy. Tickets go on sale and are probably sold in a day. And it's not an insubstantial ticket fee. So, you can over time, can't you? You've got a really long-term view as well, haven't you, Arthur, of how things go.
I mean, to caveat, I don't want to create a Glastonbury or anything of that scale, because I'm very limited by my space, and also it's my private home. I just want to provide, the circuit for major talent is no longer looking at Swindon. We don't have a venue where we can house them. We don't have a place where the talent can come and perform. They don't really want to perform in small spaces. They have to make it work for them, and the site can provide that. And what an amazing backdrop of the stately home and the grounds.
I agree. And we've got a new venue is going to be opened in Bristol, not too, just off the M4. And it seems like a big gap when there's nothing sort of in our part of the world. I mean, I admire it. I admire what you're doing. Any other projects you can share with us, even if it's quite secretly, even if it's a little bit secret?
I'm looking at further developing my my estate, so putting in farm buildings, tennis courts, and so forth. But I'm actually looking to pivot from property. I want to go into business. I want to open up new businesses, and I feel like I've built my asset base, my security, the stuff that I will live off, and it's now trying, or I will look to launch tech businesses and a medical business in the near future.
Oh, blimey. I can see loads of stories coming from that. You've surprised me today. I wasn't expecting that. Probably now the time to tell you that I'm working with 3 tech startups. You're only 30. You're ever so young. What other things do you want to do and experience in life where you think, I've got to do that, I want to do that? Tell us about that.
I went for a stage of wanting a break because I think business got just so intense. And actually, I've reframed it and said, that was a difficult time of business, where cash flow was awful, where it was tricky managing the team. But actually, that's all part of business, and that's all part of the difficulties that us business owners have and experience. And I've kind of changed the mindset and gone, okay, I've got another 10 years of hard work. So let's make that happen.
So your next focus is on, am I just reading this, that I'm going to retire by 40? Is that what I'm hearing here?
That was the plan, yeah.
You'll never retire, I promise. So, Arthur, anything else you want to share that you'd like people to hear or see or be inspired by?
I think, one of the key things for me in business is to always be open to kind of conflict and objections. I think we get that a lot in our world, and it's quite very challenging to navigate. But just be open to talking about it with people. And then I've been in business for 12 years now, so I've seen it all. So good fun.
I can see Arthur, business mentor. Yeah, I think that might be another thing we'll be talking about. So, Arthur, if people wanted to follow you or connect with you in some way that you feel comfortable with, how would they do that?
I would follow my business Instagram, which is William Arthur Property. That is me running that Instagram. So if you want to make contact, please do in the messages or via my website. I am always up to engage with people and work with people.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Arthur. Thank you. I really hope you enjoyed that chat with Arthur. He's just such a fascinating young man, and I just know there's just many other places he's going to go, and he won't be retiring at 40. We all secretly know that. But he might have more choices at a young age. So great. We've got to learn from people like Arthur. If you want to engage with me, it's scottmedia.uk. You can join my group on Facebook, Fiona Scott's PR Tribe. It's totally free, or you can follow me on LinkedIn. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.